I hope you are having a fabulous day. My name is Reggie, and today I will be sharing with you the makeup book tag. Unfortunately, don't know who created this tag because I believe it is no longer on YouTube, but I am going to be doing the questions from Sarah without an H because Sarah added a few questions to the tag, so those are the questions I'm going to be following. I was also tagged by Melissa from the Bookish Babbler, so thank you, Melissa, so much for tagging me. I don't have a viewfinder on my camera, so I'm going to be using a mirror, and I don't know how this is going to go. It might be a little awkward, but we're going to give it a try. So if you don't know, basically this tag is where you do your makeup and answer some questions that correspond with the products about books. So let's just get into the makeup book tag. Alright, so question number 1 is primer. Pick a book that left a lasting impression. Going with Harry Potter for this, and I think that's obvious. And for primer, I'm going to be using the Wet n Wild Coverall Primer Base Detente, which is super cheap and cruelty-free, so I love it. But I picked Harry Potter for this one because Harry Potter is a book that has kind of stayed with me for a really long time, more than a lot of books. And I think that's something a lot of us can say. It's been a book that, and a series that has kind of been with me my entire life, and it's so important, and I just love it so much. That is disclaimer, my makeup brushes are not washed. I meant to wash them before this video, but I didn't. I have washed them recently, but especially with this like foundation brush, when you put foundation on the brush, it gets dirty immediately. So the foundation I will be using is CoverGirl Ready Set Gorgeous. I like this foundation a lot. I'm trying to use cruelty-free products, but a lot of the products you'll see here aren't cruelty-free. And the reason for that is just because I haven't found a good, cheap drugstore foundation that I like that's also cruelty-free, and I'm trying really hard. I'm looking, and the ones that I've tried out so far just haven't worked for me, so I'm a work in progress. It's okay. But anyways, the question that corresponds to this makeup item. Foundation. Pick your favorite first book in a series, and for this I'm going with The Fifth Wave, which is the first book in the Fifth Wave trilogy by Rick Yancey, and I kind of just pour some foundation on it and then buff it onto my face. So what I like so much about The Fifth Wave is it's more than just like an apocalyptic story about aliens coming down to Earth. For me, my favorite parts are the kind of emphasis on psychology and humanity and how going through this process changes a person. I know a lot of people actually don't like the second book in this trilogy, but I actually really do like it. But the first one is just really strong and really amazing. And I haven't read the third book in this trilogy yet, but I do really love the first 2 books. Question number 3 is concealer. And for this, I am using, unfortunately, another non-cruelty-free product. This is the Maybelline Super Stay Better Skin Concealer. And the question for concealer is pick a character you wish you could get rid of. I'm going with Tate or Miles, either of them, from Ugly Love by Colleen Hoover. If you don't know, this is one of my least favorite books I read this year, possibly one of my least favorite books of all time. I just really hate them as characters. I think Tate, who is the female lead in this book, doesn't really have much of a backbone, and I feel like Miles is very abusive, not in terms of hitting her or anything, but that's not the only way to have an abusive and harmful relationship. They just don't work well together very much, and even separately, I don't like them very much. But I think I'm gonna go with Tate for this one over Miles, just because I feel like there's so many times where she could have stood up for herself and she didn't, and I just really hate that kind of behavior, and that is like my least favorite character I've read in a really long time, so I'm going to erase Tate from Ugly Love. Question number 4 is powder. Pick your favorite last book in a series. I don't actually use powder on my face because I tend to get kind of dry, so there's no point in powdering, so I'm just gonna do bronzer while I do this question. The bronzer I'm using is the Too Faced Chocolate Soleil bronzer. This is my favorite, go-to, love it. So good. My favorite last book in a series is In the Afterlight by Alexandra Bracken, which is the 3rd and final book in the Darkest Minds trilogy. And I think it is just such a fitting conclusion, and it's just really nice and complete, and it doesn't leave a lot of unanswered questions, which I really appreciate. It's just a conclusion that makes me feel like, yeah, this is the end of a story, which oftentimes I feel like I don't get that from a series conclusion. Next up is eyebrows, and for eyebrows I use the Anastasia duo powder. The question for eyebrows is a book that you think everyone should read, and this is a book I've read recently, but I have watched the lecture that this book is based on. But the book I'm talking about is The Last Lecture by Randy Pausch. This is a book that is based on a lecture that Randy Pausch gave. It was his last lecture. He was diagnosed with cancer, very intense pancreatic cancer, I believe. And this book and his lecture are just kind of advice to people, and most specifically his children, about how to best live your life and not worry about success, but also how to be successful. And it's just a lot of great advice, and it's very emotional and moving. Alright guys, I'm sorry if that angle changed. My camera died, and while my batteries were charging, I decided to straighten my hair. Question number 6 is eyeshadow, and this is a book that has your favorite colors on it. My favorite color is undoubtedly purple. Book I'm picking for this is The Diviners by Libra Bray. It's kind of a purpley shade, it's kind of blue, but this dark, deep, mysterious kind of purple, that's my favorite kind of purple. So that's why I picked this one, even though it's only kind of purple. Also has a purple sticker on it, so that counts totally. As for eyeshadow, I'm going to be using the Naked 2 palette. So I'm using the eyeshadow Suspect on the lid. It's kind of like this light tan sparkly color. I absolutely love it. And actually, on a normal, everyday basis, if I am wearing eyeshadows, I usually tend to gravitate towards my MAC eyeshadow palette. But again, MAC isn't completely cruelty-free. Neither is Urban Decay, but they're a lot closer. Urban Decay's cruelty-free statement is that they only test on animals in countries where that's the law, so like China. So they don't test on animals in America, but still, it's kind of like a gray area. In the crease, I'm going to use Tease, which is kind of like a matte purple color. But anyways, let's talk about The Diviners. I absolutely love The Diviners. It's one of my favorite books. I'm going to use this kind of flat top brush and put, don't know what color I want to put in the outer corner. Maybe Snakebite, which is this dark brownish sparkly color. I like it. But yes, The Diviners is one of my favorite books of all time. It's about a young girl who moves from the Midwest to New York, and she has kind of supery-ish powers, and it's just great fun. I absolutely love it. It's chock full of diversity and fun, creepy vibes, and it's set in 1920s New York City, which is lovely. So I just put Foxy, which is a matte cream color, on my brow bone, and now I'm going to take a pencil brush, if I can find one, and put a eyeshadow called Booty Call in my tear duct. Eyeshadow's completed. The next question is eyeliner. Pick a dark and mysterious book. For eyeliner, I'm going to pick As I Descended by Robin Talley. This is a very diverse lesbian Macbeth retelling. Absolutely love it to pieces, and it is super dark and creepy. Has some ghost vibes, has some dark themes going on. It's a lot of fun. I'm going to do my eyeliner as best as I can, but eyeliner is hard to do. So I used Urban Decay 24/7 Glide On Eyeliner for my waterline. Now I'm going to use the Physicians Formula Eyeliner Booster for a wing. How I do my wings is I kind of do the wing, draw the line over your lid, and then redo the wing to make it match, if that makes sense. best job at eyeliner, but I'm pretty impressed considering I didn't have like a place to put my arm, which is I normally balance my elbow on something. So not bad. Question number 8 is mascara. Pick a long book, and I'm picking Winter by Marissa Meyer. This book is like 800 and something pages. It's super long. It's got those really thin Bible pages, which is kind of frustrating, but they're really good quality, so I can't complain too much. The mascara I'm going to be using today is the Big Eyes something, the Falsies Big Eyes by Maybelline. What I like so much about Winter is it is a fantastic conclusion to a wonderful series. If you don't know, the Lunar Chronicles is a 4-book series that is a set of fairy tale retellings. The first book is Cinder, and it follows Cinderella. Second book is Scarlet, following Little Red Riding Hood. Our third book is Crest, which follows Rapunzel, and then the fourth book is Winter, following Snow White. It is set in futuristic New Beijing. It's science fiction, and Cinder is a cyborg, so it's got really great different kind of vibes to it. It's a wonderful sci-fi. I absolutely love it, and I think Winter is a really compelling conclusion, and I think it really pulls out all the stops you want in a conclusion, and I appreciate that. So that is why it's my favorite. It also doesn't read as long as it is. I would never have guessed I would read an 800 page book so quickly. So that's a coup. Question 9 is blush. Pick a cringe-worthy romance, and I'm going to once again go with Ugly Love and pick Tate and Miles because I can't with them. And for blush, I'm going to be using NARS in Dulce Vita. It's like a really nice dark maroony color. Really good for winter, which we're not quite at, but good for fall too. Question number 10 is highlighter. Pick a book that brightened your day. For this, I'm going with shouldn't throw things around. I will just knock them all over. But I'm going with Eleanor and Park by Rainbow Rowell, and the highlighter I'm using is What's Up by Benefit. This is my absolute all-time favorite highlighter, only one I use. But Eleanor and Park always brightens my day because while it has kind of a sad ending and I would love to have a sequel, it just was the first book that I ever read that kind of, I don't know, I guess I can't explain it. It gave me hope in a very like unique way for a fiction book. And I just loved the characters and I loved the romance, and it just made me happy. And our last question is question number 11, lipstick. See, now my favorite book kiss is actually from a pairing that doesn't happen in the first book, so I don't want to tell you who the kiss is between in case you plan to read these books and I don't want to spoil you or anything. But my favorite kiss is from Crown of Embers, which is my favorite book in the Fire and Thorns trilogy by Ray Carson. This is one of my favorite books of all time, and the kiss that happens is just so great. It's silly because it's so out of character for the character that does the kissing and how the situation kind of comes about, but it's so perfect because you want them to kiss so badly. The lipstick I used just now was Sugar Plum Fairy 908C from Wet n Wild. This is one of my favorite fall lipsticks, one of my favorite lipsticks of all time. It's just kind of this neutral but dark plummy purple color. I guess neutral is a bad way to say it, but it's like not in your face dark, but it's super bold. That is all for today's video. Sorry if this was a hot mess. I'm not a beauty guru for a reason. Talk about books. It's a lot easier, but I hope you enjoyed this video. So I'm going to tag Claire from Claire Reads Books, who I love, if you haven't checked her out, so go subscribe. And she has the most dramatic, lovely, dark winged eyeliner, so I'd love to see her do a video all about makeup and books and goodness like that. So if you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up if you haven't already subscribed to this channel, and I will see you in my next video. Bye!
Have yourself a merry little Christmas.